Towards the end of last month, something unexpected yet wonderful happened. Yuji Naka and Naito Oshima, two former leading members of Sega's Sonic team, suddenly announced that after 20 years they were teaming up again to form a new company.
Correction. Yuji Naka created the new company, with Naito Oshima working as a collaborator only, under the position of character designer. Naito Oshima remains the vice president of his own company, Artist. However, I still stand by my opinions in this video, regardless of whether Oshima is a founding member of the new company or not. In it.
Why does this matter? Well, for one thing, if you're anything like me, or if you know me in general, you know I am a huge fan of Golden Era Sonic Team games. Although there were only a few titles to their name during the late 90s and early 2000s, that short time span showcased some of Sonic Team's most creative and experimental work, resulting in the creation of cult classic titles like Nights into Dreams and Burning Rangers, as well as the hugely successful Phantasy Star Online series. Both Naka and Oshima would eventually leave Sega, where they went off separately to create other things elsewhere. Meanwhile at Sega, Sonic Team were locked into a never-ending cycle of Sonic games. The upper head saw the Sonic series as certified sales, limiting the risks of wasting money on new IPs that weren't guaranteed to turn a profit. It's a fair course of action to take when you consider things from a business point of view, but it's unfair from the perspective of the creators. Essentially what I'm saying is, the creative and experimental golden era of Sonic Team came to an abrupt end, which is likely why Oshima and Naka left Sega when they did. I personally hope to see the day when Sega would ease off on Sonic Team a little and let them find their creativity again. I did miss the old Sonic Team. That's not to say I don't like the Sonic series, far from it, because you know I'm down for the Hedgehog, but after being given such heartfelt gems like Nights and Burning Rangers, I yearn to see something like that again. Something that captured the magic and air of whimsical mystery that Sonic Team were known for. But while management at Sega remained the way it did, I knew I likely was never going to see it. So then this announcement happens, out of the blue. Naka and Oshima teaming up together again for the first time in 20 years, but this time it's not for Sega. It's a new production company under the umbrella of Square Enix instead, and they brought with them a trailer for a brand new IP. And there it was. Yeah, there it was, that golden era Sonic Team magic. In 2 minutes, one single trailer managed to re-establish the core fundamentals of what those old Sonic Team games contained. Heart, soul, whimsical larger-than-life adventures that harbour coming-of-age stories which deal with personal issues and mental health. All of this packaged together in vibrant worlds filled with colour and charm, character designs that feel unique yet relatable and welcoming, sound design and musical themes that set captivating moods for these otherworldly locations. This trailer hit me right in the heart, you know. Swear down, I teared up. I'm not even joking. I had a tear roll down my cheek over this because, bruv, there it was. Yeah, right there it was, after 20-something years of being denied a specific feeling. After 20-something years being denied a unique atmosphere that only certain key individuals seem to be capable of capturing. There it was, once again, in a 2-minute trailer, after 20-something years. This game in question is called Balan Wonderworld. So inspired by this new IP that Naka and Oshima have officially founded their new studio name under the title Balan Company. And I can't help but feel that there might be something of a rebirth about to take place. So I want to express a bunch of thoughts about all of this news because honestly there's a lot to unpack and I don't want to spread this Balan stuff over multiple videos. I'd rather just get it all done now in one go. I'm going to go over what this game is about and the sort of gameplay style it seems to be gearing itself towards. I also want to dive into why I feel the choices that Naka and Oshima have made are good ones in the grand scope of everything. I'd also like to explain why I'm supporting their decisions and what I feel it could mean for the future. And lastly, throughout this video, I want to touch upon Nights into Dreams, seeing as a lot of people are drawing comparisons between these two games, and honestly, not all of those comparisons are expressed in a positive light, so I feel some need to share my thoughts in response to that specific negativity. Right then, here we go. As a basis for the story, Balan Wonderworld sees two young protagonists named Leo and Emma reaching a depressing point in their lives. They each carry some level of emotional stress, and as a result, their happiness has deteriorated. They find themselves feeling unbalanced, and it's during this ordeal does the maestro Balan make his appearance and guides them towards Balan Theatre. With his aid, their journey through this magical theatre will help Leo and Emma rediscover what truly makes them happy, and in doing so, will restore balance to their lives. And if you're raising flags right now, then yes, this is absolutely similar in tone to what Nights into Dreams portrayed with its story of dealing with mental health issues and trying to overcome anxiety-related fears. Balan Wonderworld definitely feels like it's heading towards the same ballpark in that regard. And if you want my honest opinion about that, I welcome it. I feel this is important, especially right now during the era we're currently living in. Mental health wasn't as openly discussed like this back in the 90s, and thanks to things like the internet, we've broadened the scope on the subject. More people are wiser than ever before towards mental health awareness and analysing our thought processes. Especially now of all times, as we are currently in the thick of a worldwide pandemic alongside ongoing political unrest and societal problems, the human mind is taking a beating. I've personally never seen nor have I felt this run down and exhausted in all my life. So much shit is happening that it's hard for any of us to remain steady. Balan Wonderworld, providing they nail the direction and tones of this game, could help a lot of people with the themes and messages it might convey. Kids need things like this right now. And not even just the kids, adults need things like this right now. People in general, human beings dealing with life, need this sort of thing right now. Not to say there isn't enough video game media that covers this topic already, because there is, but having variety towards the subject can only help to further understand ourselves better in the long run. It feels like it's relevant more than ever, and as I said, if they approach the subject in the right way, a lot of people could benefit from this game. So yes, it's similar to themes that are found in Nights, but I don't see that as a bad thing, and I welcome it. I also welcome another similarity, and that's the art and visual design sharing a lot of creative structure with Nights as well. Personally, up until now, I've not found another game that visually captured the Nights design aesthetic, so seeing as the original creators for Nights are now giving us something new but somewhat similar in flavour, makes me very happy. I mean, why wouldn't it? I have missed this art style. I have missed this sort of presentation. I have been starved of this stuff for so long. If Balan wants to kick down my door and twirl around doing flamboyant star jumps, then you go right ahead, bruv, yeah? You do your thing, I am with you. I am with you. The similarities between the two seem to stop there though, as it looks like Balan Wonderworld has a completely different gameplay style to Nights. Nights focuses on 2.5D flight within a 3D world, and it still holds up as one of the most unique types of games I have ever played. Balan seems like it's going to opt for something a little more traditional, however. Taking place within a theatre stage setting, your character will wear different costumes that grant them different powers as they traverse through 3D platform-based level structures. So from watching the trailer, I'm getting a Hat in Time / Billy Hatcher sort of vibe, yeah? Like, it feels like a mixture between a Hat in Time and Billy Hatcher. You could almost say a Hatcher in Time. Yeah? Yeah? You like that one? You like, I suck your mum. No, for real though, for real. I welcome this style of game. The revival of the 3D platformer has been a pretty expressive genre for game developers to dip into, so it seems like a perfect fit for this Balan game to sit in. If the gameplay is any good is another matter entirely, and one that we'll have to wait and see on, but just from looking at it in this trailer, I'm down for it. I also find myself feeling happy about them putting the game out through Square Enix. I think it was a good call for Naka and Ashima to make. Why? Well, 3 reasons instantly spring to mind. Firstly, disregarding any issues that Square might have, one major positive aspect seems to be that they grant their developers decent leeway in terms of game direction and development time, even sometimes to a fault when a game ends up in development hell for 10 years and comes out taped together with scraps from the cutting room floor, but I ain't here to talk about Final Fantasy 15. What I'm getting at is, Naka and Oshima are artists, yeah? Creators on the highest level, and they need freedom. Not complete unchecked freedom, because then you would have a pair of artists taking the piss for 10 years, but definitely more freedom than what they were getting at SEGA. Secondly, when it comes to Square Enix, they have the money to sink into brand new IPs. They can afford to take some risks. You know that if you sit down at Square and manage to get a game greenlit by them, then you're going to get a solid budget behind it. Having peace of mind that the money side of business is taken care of grants these creators even more freedom and scope to build their projects without too many restrictions. In comparison to how it was at SEGA, it's a very good spot for them. And thirdly, though this is mostly just from my own daydreaming, but speaking of the Square Enix budget, can you imagine the merchandise that they might make for Balan Wonderworld? Like, Square have their own bloody toy company, for crying out loud, yeah? Fully posable figurines, articulation and everything, bruv. Insane details. They got plushies, tons of bloody plushies. If Balan Wonderworld does good enough, there will be some quality merchandise made for this game, thanks to the fact that Square love merchandising the crap out of their IPs. So, yes, I'm happy Naka and Oshima founded their new company under the Square Enix umbrella, because from the way I see it, it's a suitable home for them creatively. If it all goes well, then they could have a great future at the company too. Lastly, I want to address some of the negativity I've seen from a few Knights fans regarding the announcement of Balan Wonderworld. Some fans feel hard done by the fact that Balan appears to be a spiritual successor to Knights, which I guess in terms of presentation it can be considered as such. However, gameplay wise, it's completely different, so I think calling it a spiritual successor feels a little bit incorrect. And in that regard, I still see Knights owning a viable spot in the video games market. Knights really does play unlike anything else, and any game that is similar doesn't even come close enough to the flow of how Knights plays. I believe Naka and Oshima know this themselves. I mean, after all, they did create the bloody thing, yeah? They know they created something unique with Knights, and they're not about to step all over that. But at the same time, they do want us to feel visually drawn to their new IP in the same way we would be drawn to Knights, so they went for a vibe that felt familiar. Knights is still owned by SEGA too, let's not forget that fact, yeah? If there ever comes a day where Knights 3 is suddenly real, then Naka and Oshima have already made sure they haven't stepped in the way of it. Knights needs to remain unique in how it plays if it is to continue to stand out. If Naka and Oshima dropped the trailer for Balan Wonderworld and the main character was flying around doing loop-de-loops on a 2.5D plane, then okay, I'd understand the slight outcry from some of you lot. But Naka and Oshima purposely haven't done that. They haven't made a 2.5D flying game. They've given Knights enough room to stand on its own if that series ever makes a return, and in doing so, both Balan and Knights can coexist. I know that's wishful thinking because the chances of SEGA releasing a new Knights game are slim, but regardless, it's a perspective that I think needs to be considered. So, you know, don't be mad at Naka and Oshima for doing a good thing. If anything, they're trying to keep the spirit of Knights and its core fundamentals alive. They're trying to tap into a familiar energy so fans of their work are not entirely starved of it. If there's anybody you need to be pointing a finger at, it's, well, I'm sorry to say, but it's SEGA. They hold the license. And they also hold Sonic Team by the balls in making nothing but Sonic games all the time, so just a suggestion here, but if you want more Knights, moaning to Naka and Oshima about it is misdirected. If you want more Knights, you go to SEGA, you hit them up, you ask them for Knights. That's who you should be talking to, not Naka and Oshima. Let Naka and Oshima do their thing, and if you need Knights and you want Knights, you gotta talk to SEGA about that. But in any case, aside from all that stuff, I look forward to the future and seeing what Balan Company is capable of creating, whether it's a series of Balan Wonderworld games, or if each game is a brand new IP every time. Whatever they have in store, I'm definitely paying attention. I really hope Balan Wonderworld turns out to be a great game and that it finds the success that Naka and Oshima deserve, because if all of this pans out just right, we might just be witnessing the rebirth of that Sonic Team magic from their golden age. And just saying that statement out loud fills me with some serious vibes, man. What timeline are we even living in anymore? Jesus!